Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I beg to lay the following paper on the table of the Senate today, 16th of July, 2024, being a report of the Mediation Committee on the Gambling Control Bill, National Assembly Bill number 70 of 2023, on behalf of the Vice Chairperson of the Mediation Committee, the Honorable Senator Alan Chesang. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and I beg to lay.
Next order.
Order number 6, notices of motion.
Senator Karen Nyamo. That business is deferred. Next order.
Order number 7, questions and statements.
Next order.
Order number 8, the Kenya National Council for Population and Development Bill, National Assembly Bills number 72 of 2023, first reading. A bill for an act of parliament to provide for the establishment, roles and functions of Kenya National Council for Population and Development and for the establishment of the Board of Council and for connected purposes.
Next order.
Order number 9, the Culture Bill, National Assembly Bills number 12 of 2024, first reading. A bill for an act of parliament to give effect to Article 11(3)(a) of the Constitution to provide for the protection and promotion of culture and cultural heritage of communities and for connected purposes.
Next order.
Order number 10, motion, extension of time, the environmental management and coordination, strategic and integrated environmental assessment and environmental audits, number 2, regulations 2025, legal notice number 71 of 2025.
Chairperson, Select Committee on Delegated Legislation.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I beg to move that the environmental management and coordination and strategic integrated environmental assessment and the environmental audits number 2 regulations 2025 legal notice number 71 of 2025 were tabled in the Senate on Wednesday, 9th of April 2025, and referred to the Senate Select Committee on Delegation Legislation for consideration pursuant to Section 12(1) of the Statutory Instruments Act. Cognizance that the committee is required to make a report within 28 sitting days after the date of referral of the instrument by the Senate pursuant to Section 15(2) of the Statutory Instruments Act, which elapses on Thursday, 17th July 2025.
Order, honorable senators. Senator Matthew, take your seat, please.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, for protecting me. Aware that Section 15(3) of the Statutory Instruments Act provides that by a resolution, Parliament may extend the time for consideration of statutory instruments by a period of not exceeding 21 calendar days, noting that the committee is in receipt of concerns by the public on the imposition of exorbitant fees and justified and punitive fee increments through the same regulations, thus compelling the committee to further interrogate the issues. Now, therefore, the Senate resolves to extend the timeline for the consideration of environmental management, coordination, strategic and integrated environmental assessment and environmental audits number 2, regulations 2025, and the legal notice number 71 of 2025 for a further 21 days, pursuant to Section 15(3) of the Statutory Instruments Act, to enable the committee consider objections raised by the public and make its resolution on or before 17th of August 2025. Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I request Honorable Ngatana to second the motion.
Mr. Speaker, the motion is a very straightforward motion that requires extension of time so that we can consider a memorandum that was brought by the Institute of Environmentalists. Mr. Speaker, this memorandum raises substantive issues about the charges that have been proposed in this new regulation. And Mr. Speaker, the contention by the citizens is that those charges are exorbitant. Mr. Speaker, when we were supposed to have considered it within the time, we were considering the matter of the impeachment of the governor of Isiolo. So that interfered with our timelines on the other side. So, Mr. Speaker, we are only requesting for more time as a committee so that we can give justice to the citizens who are raising issues with the proposed regulations, that there may be exorbitant charges that have been introduced. Mr. Speaker, in seconding this motion, I ask fellow senators to support it as a procedural motion and allow us to do the work on your behalf for the benefit of the citizens who have raised concerns and the country in general. I beg to second. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Priority. Now, honorable senators, I will now propose the question. That are aware that the environmental management and coordination, strategic and integrated environmental assessment and environmental audits, number 2 regulations 2025, legal notice number 71 of 2025, were tabled in the Senate on Wednesday, 9th of April 2025, and referred to the Select Committee on Delegated Legislation for consideration pursuant to Section 12(1) of the Statutory Instruments Act. Cognizant that the committee is required to make a report within 28 sitting days after the date of referral of the instrument by the Senate pursuant to Section 15(2) of the Statutory Instruments Act, which will lapse on Thursday, 17th of July 2025, aware that Section 15(3) of the Statutory Instruments Act provides that as by a resolution, Parliament may extend the time for consideration of a statutory instrument by a period not exceeding 21 calendar days. Noting that the committee is in receipt of concerns by the public on the imposition of exorbitant fees and justified and punitive fee increments through the said regulations, thus compelling the committee to further interrogate the issues. Now, therefore, the Senate resolves to extend the timeline for the consideration of environmental management and coordination, strategic and integrated environmental assessment and environmental audits, number 2, regulations 2025, legal notice number 71 of 2025, for a further 21 days pursuant to Section 15(3) of the Statutory Instruments Act, to enable the committee consider objections raised by the public and make its resolution on or before 7th August 2025. Now, honorable senators, the floor, of course, is open for debate, but this being a procedural motion, the committee is merely seeking an extension of time for them to complete their work. With your concurrence, I will straight away put the question, and voting is by voice. Do I have your concurrence? Thank you. So I'll proceed to put the question. That aware that the environmental management and coordination strategic and integrated environmental assessment and environmental audits, number 2, regulations 2025, legal notice number 71 of 2025, were tabled in the Senate on Wednesday, 9th April 2025, and referred to the Select Committee on Delegated Legislation for consideration pursuant to Section 12(1) of the Statutory Instruments Act. Cognizant that the committee is required to make a report within 28 sitting days after the date of referral of the instrument by the Senate pursuant to Section 15(2) of the Statutory Instruments Act, which will now lapse on Thursday, 17th of July 2025. Aware that Section 15(3) of the Statutory Instruments Act provides that by a resolution, Parliament may extend the time for consideration of a statutory instrument by a period not exceeding 21 calendar days, noting that the committee is in receipt of concerns by the public on the imposition of exorbitant fees and justified and punitive fee increments through the said regulations, thus compelling the committee to further interrogate the issues. Now, therefore, the Senate resolves to extend the timeline for consideration of environmental management and coordination, strategic and integrated environmental assessment and environmental audits, number 2, regulations 2025, legal notice number 71 of 2025, for a further 21 days pursuant to Section 15(3) of Statutory Instruments Act to enable the committee consider objections raised by the public and make its resolution on or before the 7th of August 2025. Will as many as of that opinion say aye? Aye. Will as many as of the contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it. So, Honourable Senators, pursuant to Standing Order 45-2, allow me to reorganize the sequence of today's order paper. We will proceed to order number 7, and thereafter proceed to order number 18. Once we are done with those two, we will resume normal flow as contained in today's order paper. Clerk, you may proceed to call the order.
Order number 17, the Equalization Fund Appropriation Bill, Senate Bills number 7 of 2025. Second reading.
Senator Ledama Olekina. Senator Ledama had 17 minutes. Since not in the House, that chance is gone. Senator Boni.
No, it was moved by somebody else. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, this is a very important motion which sits not just at the core of the letter of the Constitution. More importantly, the Equalization Bill was about the spirit of the Constitution of Kenya 2010. Mr. Speaker, the spirit in the sense that in 1965, there was a misguided paper that locked out the so-called the Northern Frontier districts because they were presumed not to be contributing enough to the economy. In the process, Mr. Speaker, Mandera, Turukana, Wajir, Garissa, and so on, up to 14 counties, were left behind. So when we were in Bomas in 2005, and I would like the leader of the majority to be very kind to me on this one, In 2005, Mr. Speaker, he was in class 2. When we were in 2005, in Bomas, speaking to this spirit, we saw the need to make sure that the wrong that was done against Kenyans from these 14 counties would be righted by putting a quantum of 2.5% of the budget specifically for purposes of ensuring that we fast-track health facility development, roads, electricity, and access to health. And therefore, Mr. Speaker, as we speak this afternoon, I really wonder why we have never.
What is the point of order, Senator from Mombasa?
This one was in class 4.
Comprehend that the majority leader has talked about, that my majority whip has talked about, that our majority leader was in class 2 in the year 2005. My little mathematics, today is 20 years since 2005. That means Senator Cheriot in 2005 was about 7 years old. And I wonder whether that is now is 27 years old. And I thought he had already passed the level of a youth. And now he's in the mid-30s. Thank you.
Senator Faki, I've been patiently waiting for the point of order and the relevant standing order that has been breached, so that I make a ruling.
Order number 1, Mr. Speaker, he has to take responsibility for the issues that he is talking about,
Order,
and it is not factual.
Order, you cannot invoke standing order number 1. It's not available to you. Proceed to conclude.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I know my brother, the Senator from Mombasa, as a very strong Muslim. I wonder.
Just proceed to debate and
thank you, Mr. Speaker. He should consider reviewing his menu for lunch. Mr. Speaker, I therefore get very disappointed, not by this House, but just disappointed with myself, that how could I have been here for so long and failed to plead with colleagues so that we make the National Treasury independent from the executive. It is because the National Treasury is not independent that all monies are assumed to be in the hands of the executive, to the extent that money due to counties is never released. As we speak today, over the last now almost 17 years, the counties that were supposed to benefit from this money, they are yet to get. What is more, because of something which I don't understand, and once again, I want to invite the Senator for Mombasa to help me, because I was not here last time in the last parliament. What happened? How did you, as senators, increase the number of beneficiary counties from 14 to 34? Mr. Speaker.
Senator for Kakamega, would you wish to be informed by the majority leader?
Yes, I asked for it.
May I proceed?
Mr. Speaker, if the whip of the majority will be patient when I'll be making my submissions, because I was part of the Budget and Finance Committee that recommended that expansion of the list of beneficiaries, I will give reasons to him. So probably if he hangs around the House later on when I get an opportunity, Mr. Speaker, I'll explain why he's asking and the justification.
So, Senator for Kakamega, you can do whatever you wish to do with the information you've been given.
Wait for the mic. Wait for the mic.
Sorry, Mr. Speaker, you have heard the leader of the majority. If it wasn't for the fact that he is my boss, I would have requested you to exercise for the first time in this House so that members can know something called a frivolous point of order. A frivolous interference with my debate the way he has done. He thinks I don't know what they did. In fact, that finance committee must have been one of the weakest. Mr. Speaker, in that committee, they recommended that amongst these 17 counties should be Kericho. Kericho, which enjoys rainfall 11 months out of 12 in a year. So that they would go and fight with Turkana money meant to fast-track availability of water to the people of Turkana. Was that a committee worth celebrating, Mr. Speaker? Yes. In fact, if leadership was acquired through competitiveness, then leader of majority would have found a very difficult interview to make it to high office because it is a very serious offense. I say this with maximum respect, no tribalism in my heart, because even back home in Bungoma, Bungoma has been allowed to benefit from this money. It's not supposed to. No. That must be relooked at, and this House, because we are a House of equity, equalization fund should be accessed by only the 14 counties. Mr. Speaker, you have had the privilege as a national party leader of the power to fly across the Republic. Mr. Speaker, you have seen how the countryside of Kenya just looks like. You don't even have to be educated by anybody to know that this one deserving, this one is not deserving. We have to build patriotism in this country by saying that our brothers left behind, we hold their hands, we move together. You know, Mr. Speaker, when this debate was going on at that time, and Edwin, this one will amuse you, Sifuna, there's somebody who said, no.
Honorable Bonne.
Yes.
You refer to your colleague as Honorable Senator.
Yeah.
You may not mind, but the language of the House, your brotherhood is outside of this chamber. May you extend that relationship.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
In this chamber.
Mr. Speaker, you know sometimes it's so difficult to think in vernacular than speak in English. When I was thinking in Kiluya, in Luya culture, a younger brother like this one is always your baby. So sometimes I forget that he's a senator because he's my younger brother. It was actually a statement of love. Senator of Nairobi, you'll be amused. Some of the people who insisted that this should not be the case, no sooner oil was discovered in Turkana than they ran and bought blocks of fields in Turkana so that they become property owners in speculation that probably in that block he has bought, then oil will be struck. I tell you, these ignored counties that we have, I have named some of them, resources will fall there, and we shall all be running there or depending on them because they will be the prime movers of the economy of the Republic of Kenya. Mr. Speaker, having said that, I therefore want to amplify my thoughts on an independent national treasury. We should make the national treasury independent so that no phone call comes from the office of the president, from the Senate, from some other powerful ministry, either Prime Cabinet Secretary or Minister of Interior, to force them to push money to some areas simply because development is supposed to follow power. We would like development in this country, Mr. Speaker, to follow meritocracy. If it was following meritocracy, Mr. Speaker, the shock that I've received today, this morning, from which I'm still reeling, would not have occurred. Cabinet sat 2 months ago, announced that the road from Rironi to Nakuru, Mau Summit, Eldoret, Kabrengo, Webuye, Punkandui, up to Malaba would be a dual carriage. Today, the minister has come and has told the people of Western Province that goalposts have since been shifted to the extent that now the dual carriage will stop at Mao Summit, and the budget, which was meant to push it to Malaba, would now be used to now do a detour to go to Mai Mahiu and hopefully Narok or where. I didn't want to tell the minister because I would have been out of order because I have no facts. But could it be that the all-powerful minister for roads comes from Pomet, and this is why he wants part of that pie to be to go to Pomet side to avoid it going to Malaba. This decision will have to be reviewed and possibly reversed. Mr. Speaker, you cannot lock out Western Province from such a flagship project. And even if you don't like the face of the people, mainly the men of Western, we have some very beautiful women from Western. At least use their faces to give them development, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I say this with a lot of pain. It is only a few years ago, Mr. Speaker, that a basic thing like a national school was being given now to Western, when other parts of this country have had national schools from independence. So much so that the majority of the elites you see from my region have had to make it academically by going to national schools outside the region. It is this marginalization that makes some of us get confused, get angry with government, and this, Mr. Speaker, might stop. And if they don't want to stop it because of the politics they want to pursue, let me teach them a bit of economics, which I don't understand. Economics says Kenya's #1 trading partner is Uganda. And when you add the amount of trade we do with Rwanda, we do with Bujumbura, we do with the Eastern Congo, we do with South Sudan, the goods and services that go on that road are the engine of the economy of Kenya in as far as import and export is concerned as a revenue stream. If we must grow this economy of Kenya, in this government and the government that will come thereafter, there are two minimums we must do. And that minimum is not mine. It was in Vision 2030, Mr. Speaker, of President Mwai Kibaki. It was, you dual the road from Mombasa Port all the way to the border. And it went further and said, and for information, Mr. Speaker, it's just a reminder to you, you are our minister in the East African community. You know the blueprint of the road network in the East African community, which says that that dueling would not end at Malaba, but the community will help the dueling to go all the way to the Kampala, all the way to Kigali, all the way to Goma, all the way to Bujumbura. Then we open the economy, Limb 1, and then Limb 2, LAPSET projects, Lamu, Seaport, Mr. Speaker, and then you do the roads all the way to Ethiopia and all the way to South Sudan. If we open these arteries, we will grow the economy of Kenya. We won't have to export our youth to go and look for jobs in Dubai and look for jobs in other funny places who have no idea how difficult it is for you to take care of your pregnant wife so that she gives birth, so that you educate that child. They don't know. We do it for them, and then we give them our professionals. We need to create these jobs here at home. And how do you do it? You have to open the economy. You think proactively. Mr. Speaker, I've had to emphasize this thing, and I want to appeal to colleagues, let us make the National Treasury independent, then equalization funds will flow, and other decentralized funds will flow. Mr. Speaker, finally, but not least, I want to use this opportunity to congratulate CS Mbadi. The Speaker, I had a meeting with Mbadi of 2 hours. That minister seems to know what he's doing. We only need to tweak him a little bit. He knows what we are doing, but he's under pressure of politics, whereby he's forced to then tweak some projects to Nyanza. Once you correct that, Mbadi is a good fit for that ministry. Mr. Speaker, with those many remarks, I support.
Senator Faki.
Asante Mheshimiwa Spika kwa kunipa fursa hii kuchangia mswada wa hazina ya usawa katika nchi yetu. Mheshimiwa Spika, hazina hii ilianzishwa mwaka 2010 kupitia katiba mpya, ambapo katika kifungu cha 204 imetolewa kwamba kutakuwa na hazina ijulikanao kama hazina ya Equalization Fund, ili kusaidia maeneo ambayo yalikuwa yametengwa kwa muda mrefu ili yaweze kuwa karibu sawa na yale maeneo mengine. Mheshimiwa Spika, katika mgao wa kwanza kulikuwa na kaunti 14 ambazo ndizo zilikuwa zimechaguliwa kwamba hizi ni kaunti ambazo zilikuwa zimetengwa sana, ambapo huduma kama afya, huduma kama barabara, huduma kama za elimu zilikuwa zimetengwa kabisa katika maeneo yale, ambapo Wakenya wengi katika maeneo yale walikuwa hawakubahatika hata kwenda shule ama kupata huduma za afya kama Wakenya wengine. Mheshimiwa Spika, uanzilishi wa hazina hii ulikuwa kuona malengo mazuri sana, lakini baada tu kuanzishwa kukaingia mambo mengi ya kusikitisha ambayo yamesababisha kwamba mpaka sasa hazina hii haijatumika kikamilifu. Kwa mfano, Mheshimiwa Spika, baada ya kuanzishwa ilichukua muda mrefu sana kuweza kupata kanuni ama sheria endelezi, delegated legislation ama regulations za kuweza kuendesha hazina hii. Za kwanza zilipotengenezwa zilipatikana zina makosa kwa sababu hawakuhusisha county council of governors ama county zetu. Wao wakaenda mahakamani wakaweza kuzibatilisha, tukarudi tena na tukachukua muda mrefu katika Senate ya 3 ambapo ndio tuliweza kupitisha kanuni hizo. Na pia kupitisha kwake, Mheshimiwa Spika, ilibidi tutumie mbinu fulani ambazo sitaweza kuzieleza ili ziweze kupita ndio wananchi wafaidike, kwa sababu kulikuwa na watu ambao maseneta hapa katika bunge lile walikuwa wako tayari kuzipinga ili siweze kutekelezwa. Kwa hiyo Mheshimiwa Spika, kwa zaidi ya miaka 8 baada ya hazina hii kuanzishwa, zile counties zilizokusudiwa kupata manufaa, Mheshimiwa Spika, hazikuweza kupata manufaa yale. Wengi walikuwa wamepewa zabuni za kuanzisha kazi katika maeneo ya zile county. Nakumbuka kuna watu kadhaa walinifuata wakati mimi ni mwenyekiti wa kamati ya delegated legislation katika bunge lililokwisha, kutaka kujua kanuni zitapitishwa lini ili waweze kumaliza zile kazi walikuwa wameweza kufanya na waweze kulipwa pesa zao ambazo walikuwa wanadai ile hazina. Mheshimiwa Spika, baada ya kupitisha kanuni, vile vile pia ilifika wakati wa kuamua zile county ambazo zitafaidika katika awamu ya pili. Ndio hapo sasa zikawa sasa county zimeongezeka, zimekuwa mpaka 34 badala ya zile 14 za kwanza. Kukaongezeka county nyingine 20 ambazo pia wao walidai kwamba ni wametengwa, ikiwemo Kiambu. Mheshimiwa Spika, county ya Kiambu pia ambapo kuna matajiri upande mmoja, watajiri wengi ama wakubwa upande mmoja na maskini wadogo upande mwingine, pia ikapatikana kwa ni county ambayo imetengwa. Mheshimiwa Spika, jambo la kusikitisha zaidi ni kwamba serikali mpaka hivi sasa pesa ambazo zimetengwa kwa hazina hii kwa miaka yote ambayo imepita ni bilioni 56. Katika hizi, Mheshimiwa Spika, ni asilimia ama ni karibu asilimia 20 peke yake ambayo mpaka sasa zimeweza kulipwa ama zimeweza kutoka katika hazina kuu kwenda katika zile maeneo. Kwa sasa sio county, ni maeneo ambayo yametengwa. Tulitoka katika county